Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer channel episode, and of course we are going to be taking another look at a diary journal entry of Queen Victoria, who of course was then Princess Victoria at the time before her accession. Today is the 1st of June 2020, but we are going to be delving back into Queen Victoria's journals dated the 1st of June 1837. This diary entry was written at her principal residence of Kensington Palace. Right, let's begin. Let's delve straight into a slice of history. Thursday, the 1st of June, got up at 8. After 9, we breakfasted. Poor Charles, though better, is dreadfully weak and still keeps his bed. The children played in the room, and immediately after breakfast, poor Ernest had 2 teeth taken out, which made him cry very much. At 10:30, dearest Leeson and I drove out with dear darling little Edward, who behaved beautifully, and came home à pied at 20 minutes past 11. At 11:30 came Mr. Steward till 12:30. At 12:30 came the Dean till 2, read with him in Colonel Hutchins' memoirs and in Blackstone. Drew. At 3 came Mrs. Anderson till 4. At 4:30 dear Leeson and I went out and came home at 5:15. Wrote in my journal. After 7 we dined. We saw the children before dinner for a minute. Received a letter from dearest Aunt Louise from Newley, and from the Duchess of Northumberland. Played on the piano with Mama and sang a little. At 10:15 we went with Mary, dearest Leeson, Lady Flora Hastings, Sir George Anson and company to the Opera House, where a great ball was given for the benefit of the poor Spitfield weavers. The wild pit and stage were floored over, the orchestra was placed on the stage, and the whole house was elegantly and tastefully decorated with silk made at Spitfields. The pit tier of boxes was shut up, as the pit tier was considered raised. The royal box in which the Princess Augusta, ourselves, all the Queen ladies, and Mama's people, Leeson, the gentlemen of the court and company, was quite in the centre of the house, and about feet from the floor. The coute de wheel was really very beautiful and brilliant. The ball was immensely full, and I think it must have been highly successful for the charitable purpose it was intended for. There were several pretty quadrille costumes, among which the married quadrille, entirely composed of married ladies, and the mumps were the most striking. In the former, the costume consisted only in a Russian cap, with a long veil hanging from it. The beauties amongst these were Lady Seymour, the Marchioness of Abercorn, Lady Norreys, Lady Worsley and company. Amongst the mumps, Lady Fanny Cowper, Lady Wilhelmina Stanhope, Miss Forrester and company. In my opinion, Lady Fanny Cowper bears the palm of beauty. The Duchess of Sutherland looked more beautiful than I ever saw her. Her dress was so simple, so chaste, and peculiar. She looked beautiful, quite. I saw at a distance in the crowd my unfortunate cousin, for he so really is, the Duke of Brunswick. He was in a black or dark blue uniform, with silver, his hair hanging wildly about his face, his countenance pale and haggard. I was very sorry I could not see him de près for once, that I may really see if he is so ferocious looking, but I must say I think it was well felt in him not to come near. En revanche, his gentleman came very near, and I had a full view of him. He has nothing at all fierce or tigerish about him, except his long but tidy hair. He has a fine countenance, and looks quiet. He wore a French, I think, uniform, and looked very soldier-like. I was sorry I could not, of course, dance. We came home at 20 minutes past 1. I was much amused. And there we have yet another really detailed, almost minute by minute account of Victoria's day. She really does like to put her time. She likes to recall who she met throughout the day, and the list of people is completely endless. I wish I could just pop up images on the screen of every single person that she's talking about. But the one part of the last couple of journal entries that I would like to comment on is Victoria's love of music. She loves opera, she loves singing, and of course she loves to dance. She said that she was sorry that she could not, of course, dance, but she was very much amused. I love her observations of the people that she comes into contact with, and she does like to give her opinion on how people look and how people dress. In my opinion, Lady Fanny Cowper bears the palm of beauty. The Duchess of Sutherland looked more beautiful than I ever saw her. Her dress was so simple, so chaste and peculiar. She looked beautiful. I saw at a distance in the crowd my unfortunate cousin, and then in brackets, for so he really is. the Duke of Brunswick. He was in a black or dark blue uniform with silver, his hair hanging wildly about his face, his countenance pale and haggard. I was very sorry I could not see him for once, that I may really see if he is so ferocious looking. But I must say, I think it was well felt in him not to come near. I mean, that was amazing. So obviously she'd heard much of the Duke of Brunswick, possibly even from her mother. Was it her mother's opinion of the Duke of Brunswick that was playing out for Victoria right there? And I think it was quite humorous for her to say, but I must say, I think it was well felt in him not to come near. In other words, I've heard that he is an unfortunate person, and I didn't really want him in my orbits. So it was well felt for him not to come near. However, she did relent. She said that once his gentlemen moved apart, she had a full view of him. He was nothing at all fierce or tigerish, except his long but tidy, tidy is in brackets, hair. He has a fine countenance and looks quiet. He wore a French, I think, uniform and looks very soldier-like. I was sorry, of course, I could not dance. We came home at 20 minutes past 1. I was much amused. I do love the way that she almost has a little bit of a gossip with herself. She's very, very much using her diary to kind of process. I think if anyone has an understanding of processing, I think Queen Victoria likes to process information quite logically. She's quite logical in the way that she presents things, the way that she goes through the day in order, the way that she puts times, I mean, even to the quarter past of the hours, how long she stays with people, the detail of who she meets during the day. But also, what I've noticed is towards maybe the latter part of the diary entries, that is when we get a little bit of tea spillage from Victoria. That's when she kind of goes into more of the descriptions about people's appearances. And I think we're getting a little glimmer into her character and her nature from those descriptions. I really am falling in love, I think, with Queen Victoria through her diary entries. I've always had a really big love of Queen Victoria, but I think it's only when you kind of get into, you kind of strip back the outer layer and you really get down into her thoughts and her thought processes that it really strips away and reveals the person inside. And let's not forget, she is still very, very young during these early diary entries. As life carries on for Victoria, I'm hoping we will get even more of an insight into the character and nature of the grandmother of Europe. In today's video, you may have noticed that I have been wearing some jewellery. I've been wearing the Prince Albert brooch. This is the brooch that Prince Albert gave to Queen Victoria. It's a replica, of course, not the real one. And also, I've been wearing Queen Victoria's sapphire and diamond tiara, which I think is really, really stunning. I do absolutely love this. And of course, this is on display at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. Found this video useful, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media and also do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, please do remember to subscribe to the channel. So, from me in Shropshire, mwah to you all and goodbye.